Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. So today we are talking about 5 daily habits we can implement to help us cultivate a more positive growth mindset. Now, I do want to say when I talk about having a positive mindset, I by no means am talking about toxic positivity, which I think can be very harmful and hurtful. For me, my perspective around having a positive mindset is really having a mindset that allows you to navigate through difficult situations without letting them get the best of you. It helps you to look for the lessons in challenging obstacles in your life. And I feel with a positive growth mindset, you are able to find the beauty and gratitude in the little things. And just like with exercising our bodies, I think the same goes for exercising our minds in order for our mindsets to stay happy, healthy, and positive. These 5 daily habits are essentially workouts that you can do for your mind to ensure that you are taking care of your mindset. The reason why I emphasize working on your mindset so much is because I know firsthand how life-changing taking control of my mindset and shifting my perspective was the first thing that I did and needed to do in order to now live the life that I live today, and I owe it all to my mindset. So I really hope that you enjoy this video. If you do, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into today's video. So my first daily habit to cultivate a more positive growth mindset is to prime your mind for the day. I think it's so important for us to take control of our mindsets before life starts to bombard it with all of the things like work emails, social media, things happening all around the world, and that can really influence and impact your mindset, especially if you haven't primed it for the day, if you haven't protected and nourished and taken care of it. In order to prevent that from happening as much as possible, I think it's so essential to prime your mind first thing in the morning by having a solid morning routine that you do on a consistent basis. And it really does not matter what your morning routine looks like, how long it is, what you do, what it entails, as long as you are doing things that are setting you up for success. And that will look different for each and every person. For me, the 3 main things that help me is doing 5-minute meditation, journaling on a few things that I'm grateful for, and then journaling on my intentions and goals for the day. Some other ideas that can help you prime your mind in the morning is avoid scrolling on social media or watching the news first thing in the morning. I know how tempting this can be. I have gone as far as to deleting all of my social media apps every single night before bed because I am less tempted to re-download all my apps, enter my passwords, and have to go through all that. Other things you can do are meditating, journaling, visualization, writing affirmations, watching an uplifting video, or even listening to a uplifting or personal growth podcast. Whatever it is you want to do those things and do them consistently. My second daily habit to cultivating a more positive growth mindset is checking in with yourself. With all of our crazy schedules, never-ending to-do lists, responsibilities, and everyday life things that happen, it's so easy to neglect our mental and emotional well-being and ignore some of the signs that our minds or our bodies might be telling us. And before you know it, one thing leads to another, and a simple thing could turn into a really big problem. Sometimes we don't even know something's wrong or that we need to address something or work through something until we take that time to just check in. So some questions to really help me check in with myself and understand where I'm at on a mental or emotional state are: how am I feeling right now? And after you ask yourself this question, see what feelings are coming up for you. You might find that you are actually feeling very overwhelmed or very tired, or you actually feel kind of lonely and sad, and that is something that you can unpack and dig deeper with. Second question that I like to ask myself is there anything on my mind that's bothering me? So like with the first question, sometimes there are things that happen throughout the day that we don't have the time to kind of address or acknowledge. And the third question I like to ask myself is, what is the root to how I am feeling or to what's bothering me? So after you ask yourself the first 2 questions, this is where you want to get a little bit deeper, and you might be surprised again by what comes up for you. And the last question that I like to ask myself is there anything I can do to help this feeling or thought? Is there anything that I can do about this? Is there a conversation that I need to have? Is there a boundary I need to set? Is there something in my schedule that I need to move around and change so I don't feel overwhelmed and burnt out? This is where we are trying to find solutions so that we can work through these feelings. Now, my third daily habit in cultivating a more positive mindset is to challenge your negative self-talk. We think thousands and thousands of thoughts a day, and a lot of them we aren't even aware to the thoughts that we are thinking, and I can guarantee you that more than half of them are probably negative. And I'm not trying to imply that you should only think positively, you should only have positive feelings, you should only always be happy. Not at all. I do believe that a lot of us deal with having really harmful, bad, negative self-talk. Been there, I know how it is to deal with your negative internal voice and how damaging it could be. I challenge you, when you are experiencing negative self-talk, to challenge those thoughts that you are thinking. And my first tip in challenging your negative self-talk is to, one, use discernment. So what I mean by that is a valid thought, I feel, is like, let's say you lost your job today, right? You were laid off, you lost your job, and now you don't know what you're going to do, how you're going to pay the bills. You are also justified in feeling upset or feeling stressed out, because that is a very difficult situation to be in. And my second tip is asking yourself, what proof do I have that this thought is true? So if you made a mistake at work and now you're calling yourself unworthy for the job, a loser, not good enough, whatever it is, does making an honest mistake at work that many people make each day, is that really justifiable in calling yourself not good enough? Or is that just you being human and making an honest mistake? Like, what's really going on here? I think that's really important to do when challenging your negative self-talk, because one thing about our negative self-talk is that it will make us believe things about ourselves that is absolutely 100% untrue. So before you start getting into that negative spiral, ask yourself for proof of how any of it is true. So my fourth daily habit to help you cultivate a more positive mindset is to consciously consume. When I did begin my personal growth journey, I really wanted to focus on cultivating a more positive mindset. So I kind of went a little crazy and extreme, if you will, by consciously consuming. Now, I'm not saying that you guys have to be as extreme as I was. I personally am not as extreme as I used to be, but I think because my mindset was in such a bad place, I so desperately wanted to be on the other side of it, and so I went from one extreme to the other extreme, and now I feel like I'm more out of balance. Kind of give you an idea, when I first started working on my mindset and wanted to cultivate a more positive mindset, I was very strict with everything that I was consuming, from the people I was following on social media, the videos that I would watch on YouTube, or the TV shows that I would watch, or the books that I would read, the conversations that I would have, the people that I would hang around with. So many things. Literally everything had to be positive and uplifting. Looking back now, I don't feel the need to have to be as extreme. Like I said, now I'm able to enjoy a good reality TV show. The key here with consuming consciously, I feel, is finding a good balance. So obviously not overindulging in reality TV or negativity, but also not overindulging in constant positive, like uplifting things. I do think you can burn out from that as well. So the key here with consciously consuming, I think, is what makes up the core of what you are consuming. And that is going to impact the type of mindset that you have. So habit number 6 to help you cultivate a more positive mindset is, of course, getting in the habit of gratitude. Most of us have the habit of focusing on the negatives in life, focusing on what's wrong, focusing on what we don't have. This isn't entirely our fault, and this doesn't make you a bad person. I actually read an article that talked about why we do this as humans. and I am going to read a little bit about what I read. So according to an article on verywellmind.com, as humans, we tend to remember traumatic experiences better than positive ones, recall insults better than compliments, react more strongly to negativity, think about negative things more frequently than positive ones, and respond more strongly to negative events than to equally positive ones. Their reasoning for why we tend to focus on the negative versus the positive is our tendency to pay more attention to bad things and overlook good things is likely a result of evolution. So earlier in human history, paying attention to bad, dangerous, and negative threats in the world was literally a matter of life or death. Clearly, at one point in time, focusing on the negatives around us and focusing on potential dangers was beneficial for us. While that's still somewhat true, especially if you are out and about at night by yourself, it's important to be aware of your surroundings and things like that. Also, we don't always have to focus on every single negative thing that is going on in our lives or making problems where there aren't problems. And that's not to say we should ignore those things, but what I am saying is we tend to focus more heavily on those things as opposed to the blessings and the good things that are happening in our lives. It is a habit for us to think the way that we do, and so naturally the next step would be to break this habit. Just because we've been programmed to be a certain way, to think a certain way, to act a certain way, that doesn't mean we can't change that. This is a process of breaking a bad habit and replacing it with a better habit, which is focusing on gratitude more than the negatives. So of course, the best and I think most obvious way to get into the habit of gratitude is to write out what you are grateful for. But not just writing a one-worded sentence. What's really helped me get into the habit of gratitude is when I am writing my gratitude list, getting very in depth of what it is that I'm grateful for and really embodying or evoking the feelings that I feel to have what it is that I'm grateful for. So for example, instead of saying I am so grateful for my friends, instead you would write or you would say I am so grateful for my loving, supportive, and down-to-earth friends. I know that they would be there for me through thick and thin, and I can call them for anything and they always have my back. I love how they make me feel so appreciated, so loved. The difference those two make in how you feel, with the first sentence I didn't really feel that much emotion, and then with the second one I literally felt the feelings of being loved, of warmth, of feeling fulfilled with the people I have in my life. Like, it's two completely different emotions. So get in the habit of writing a gratitude list every morning or every evening. It could be as little or as big as you want it to be. Getting very clear, very in depth of how you feel, that is going to begin shifting your mindset and get you into the habit of focusing more on the good. And when you do this often enough, you begin to create a new habit, and before you know it, you won't have to force yourself to think positively or to focus on the good. You will just naturally already do that. And as we know, the more you focus on what you are grateful for, the more that you will have to be grateful for. Okay, so those are my core go-to 5 daily habits that really help me to cultivate a more positive mindset. And before we wrap up this video, I do want to reiterate some really important points that I think are worth noting. If you take anything away from this video, it's these few things. The first is having a positive mindset does not mean that you have to feel or think positively all the time. That is not realistic. You are human, you will feel both emotions, and I feel like in order to know what it is to be happy, you have to experience feeling sad or angry. Also, something that I haven't mentioned yet is that it is totally normal to go through ebbs and flows in life. There will be moments in your life where it's really easy for you to cultivate a more positive mindset, to focus on the good, to feel gratitude. And then there will be moments where it's really freaking challenging to focus on the good and to have a positive mindset. It's totally normal and okay if there are moments where it's not as easy to cultivate a more positive mindset. And the last and final thing that I want to say is no matter what, always do your personal best, and remember that is going to look different each and every time, and that is okay. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would so appreciate your like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.